Hello and welcome to Startup Champions 2.0, the show where you meet and learn from National Startup Award-winning founders. In the episode today, you will meet our startup champion from the transport space. They are Ruben Bridge. Also, you will take step number 3 of how to start a startup. So, Ruben Bridge and how to start a startup. India has about 774 districts. Every district has several tehsils. About 64.5% population resides in rural India. 64.5% of 1.38 billion people is a very, very large number. Now imagine if there was a way to connect this massive population with internet and supply chain. In urban cities, if you were to get an Aadhaar card printed, all it takes is probably 5 minutes and 2 rupees, maybe. But to do the same in a village in India even today, it takes 20 to 60 minutes of a bus ride and 50 rupees of internet access and printout charges. Now imagine if you were to create entrepreneurs at the tehsil level. How will you increase the efficiency of over 500 million people and hence the economy? This means if someone from Gorakhpur's Khajni Tehsil orders a laptop, TV, or wants to open a bank account or get digitally connected, it will become as simple as it is in the cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore. Of course, Bharat will progress and you will create wealth. This is exactly what our startup champion has done. They're creating entrepreneurs across the country's tehsils. Let's now, of course, meet our startup champions for today.
In my previous entrepreneurial venture, I had seen millions of young people struggling to find jobs. We co-founded OneBridge in 2016 to provide economic opportunities to our young people in their villages itself as entrepreneurs by leveraging a technology platform and delivering a variety of services to the village consumers. OneBridge's vision is to empower entrepreneurs and usher in rural abundance by bringing in last mile connectivity, digital payments and products and services to our village consumers, all on our technology platform and generating additional incomes for our entrepreneurs.
All our 10,000 entrepreneurs who are in our network today operate on a very simple OneBridge Advisor app, which is completely developed in-house by our own team. They can add money using UPI as a platform or cards as a platform so that these transactions are completely digital. They can also go and see how much money they have. They can ask for a withdrawal on this app for that money that they have.
Our mission by 2025 is to have 100,000 entrepreneurs earning an additional 1 lakh of income per annum by being on our platform.
So Madan and Anil, welcome to Startup Champions 2.0.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Fantastic, great. The first question that I have for the both of you is, look, for the both of you, your greatest wealth that you've actually created, apart from probably some wealth, is your impact in Bharat, right? I think the work that you guys have done is now creating entrepreneurs across Bharat. How did the idea of Ruben Bridge really came to you guys?
So it started about 7 years ago. In my previous venture, was looking at youth employability very closely. A company called MeritTrack, which was India's first testing and assessments company. We had tested millions of people, and I was seeing that some folks are employable, some are not. And how do you then bridge the income and the economic opportunities gap? So when I sold and exited my previous venture, my heart was with the young people and the entrepreneurs. And the idea was that, hey, if we can create entrepreneurial opportunities in their own district, tehsils and villages, then people don't need to migrate in search of jobs. And we can also bring in abundance to the villages. So that was the thought that triggered the whole concept of Ruben Bridge. Ruben stands for rural urban, and we wanted to do the bridge.
Fantastic. And now, of course, for the both of you, how did you fund your business on day one? I do understand, once a business, of course, starts growing, you get cash flows, you become a larger company and so on and so forth. But on day one, after the idea, did the family support? Did you get the government to fund you? How did it all begin for you?
As I say, usually a startup journey starts with 3 F's, friends, families and fools. Started with our capital, but we started finding a lot of friends and, as I said, the angels.
Sure.
Who were saying, hey, I love the problem you're solving. Let me be a part of it. And we got a lot of support from the entrepreneurial community as we kept building this out.
Sure, very interesting. And so now that you've sort of lived a certain journey, have you raised external funding?
Yes, it's almost been 5 years that we've got impact investment fund called C4D Partners. They've been on with us over the last 5 years.
Wow.
And we've raised our institutional round of capital as well.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. And just as a follow-up question to that, so has funding or external funding changed anything for the both of you?
Not really, except
Not really.
except that Anil used to have sleepless nights before to say, where will we give the salaries this month from because
Yes,
of cash
exactly.
flow issues.
Sure.
I think cash flow has become...
Yeah, so that we would solve that with that funding.
Sure. So if someone wants to now become, let's say, an entrepreneur with Ruben Bridge, right? How do they begin?
What we do really here is to go into the districts. We have a district coordinator. Okay. The district coordinator goes from village to village. We cover about 300 villages in every district. And we then get recommendations from the village on who is their most trusted entrepreneur. Right? So we have, trust is a very critical component. Right? So we look at entrepreneurs who've been there in the village at least for 2 generations and who the village recommends. Right? Anil's team, which is the network team, then goes out and conducts a series of interviews with them, and then we select them.
Wow. Now, I have a question on your strategy, because a lot of our entrepreneurs who are watching this show today would want to really understand how strategies are created in growth stage companies, right? So, Anil, when you actually reach out to potential entrepreneurs as partners across these tehsils, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I've studied about your company is the fact that you ended up creating a large enough supply chain operations of your own.
Yes.
Why did you do that? What was the strategic thought behind that? Why did you not, let's say, partner with a third-party logistics company just to make it a lot more simpler for yourself?
So when you talk about access, choice and convenience, if the connectivity is not there, so we're not able to reach to the end consumer.
Sure.
And the end consumer for us is the person who's actually sitting at the village and not at the tehsil or even the town level.
Sure.
So somebody who's sitting at the village, he doesn't even understand what is happening in urban market, what is happening in town. And that is only because the connectivity was not there.
Sure.
Even there are many claims where people are saying that we have covered enough pin codes. But the reality is nobody is going beyond district headquarter level and taluka, max to max taluka level. We are not even talking about district headquarters. We are only talking about the villages and villages. And that is what this connectivity, and how we can connect these things, we can connect only through local entrepreneurs. And it is not that others are not able to do. They are not able to because economically it is not possible to do. We are able to do because we are choosing the person from the same village. And we are choosing the person who is actually from the same taluka, same tehsil.
But tell me something, you've already done that, but why have you created your own supply chain? Why that decision? Why not just partner with a third-party logistics company and do that?
So, if you talk about, so we are not calling ourselves as a transport company.
Sure.
We are a last mile delivery company.
Got it.
So last mile delivery, we are actually connecting tehsil to the villages.
Wow.
Right? Wow. And whatever the infrastructure already exists, we are using that.
Got it.
And that is where we are able to optimize the cost.
And just to add to that, Paritosh, see, the whole focus for us is on the customer experience. Let's say you ordered a pressure cooker.
Let's say,
right? And I've come to your doorstep, taken the order, taken the money, but if the product does not reach you in 3 days committed, you're going to feel, kya ho raha hai?
Of course.
Right? So we want to make sure that the experience doesn't break down till the last mile, and therefore we need to control that pipe.
But you guys never thought of it as a cost, that wow, we are incurring so much more cost in the company?
The cost has to be justified by the revenues that are generated. So it's a chicken and egg. You hit a right thing. Because volumes are not there, costs are high.
Sure.
Right? And because you're not able to invest to build the volumes, cost will continue to remain a constraint. So we are trying to increase the volumes so that the per unit cost comes down.
Exactly.
And that is a very, very good learning for all of you. Realize this. Look, an entrepreneur fundamentally fails. The biggest chunk of failure is actually a wrong business model. What they've been actually able to crack is the right business model, volumes. And of course, Bharat is all about volumes. On that note, we will take a very, very short break, but don't go anywhere right now, because after the break, you will actually learn from Ruben Bridge, from both Anil and Madan, on how they've been able to create the right business model, and also also something very, very important for you, which is, how they are creating entrepreneurs all across Bharat, and how can you associate with them and build your own successful startup. I will see you on the other side of this break. Welcome back once again to Startup Champions 2.0, and now you will learn the most important lesson for your own startup. Madan and Anil, you've already answered a lot of interesting questions, but now is the time to answer the toughest question. The toughest one being, look, you've actually cracked a very, very important business model that works in Bharat. We are actually not a country, we are a community, right? And you have actually been able to build and engage a community of over 18,000 entrepreneurs is what I've known about you. Tell me and tell our audience about how did you build this community, right? Do you guys actually go on the field to do all of this, or do you have a team to do all of this? And what does it really take from you to keep them engaged and keep them active in your network?
We are present in about 77 districts in the country today.
Okay.
And in each of the districts, One Bridge or Ruben Bridge has a presence on the ground with a full-time team of district coordinators, tehsil coordinators. They go from village to village and get a recommendation from the village leaders on who is the most trusted entrepreneur in that community.
Wow.
We then run an interview, run a selection process, and then onboard that person as an entrepreneur. Trust, as you rightly said, and community is the most important part for us. That we are not trying to sell anything. We are trying to listen to what they want, when they want it, how they want it, and make sure that we are building the bridge to make that happen.
Very interesting. And just to talk about One Bridge, so Ruben Bridge, of course, is your company, but what is One Bridge?
One Bridge is the brand we have created in the villages.
Sure.
Right? And it's a very beautiful connotation because it's the bridge between rural and urban.
And is this a mobile app or a website? What exactly is this?
It's an app. It's an assisted commerce app for our entrepreneurs. The consumers see only a chatbot, a WhatsApp chatbot. But if you go into our villages, you will see a One Bridge Point, which is a physically branded center.
Yes.
You will see a One Bridge advisor, who's a women entrepreneur who's going around house to house and creating this community that we call as Kutum. Maybe you want to talk about the Kutum?
Please.
So when you're talking about Kutum, the Kutum is a parivar for us. So basically, right. So we are only building that trust within that community. So that is why the Madan was saying that we are not selling anything. We are not going and forcing anyone to buy any product. We are only understanding the requirement, whatever requirement they have, and we are trying to bridge that gap. So whatever demands and supply, and that is what we are trying to do here through our local entrepreneurs.
Got it.
And the major thing here is the general perception that people are migrating, or maybe they want to migrate, but as the truth is they are migrating only because they don't have opportunities there at the village. We are only trying to solve that problem for them so that we can take the services to their doorstep where they can actually earn whatever they are doing at the village. They can add on their earning, plus they can get all the convenience whatever they can get in urban in the same village.
At their doorstep.
At the doorstep.
Fantastic. So the big one lesson for all of you is very, very simple. Two important keywords, trust and community. And now comes the third most important keyword. Open your eyes. You've never seen something of this sort all of your life. I'll tell you what. This is the metaverse. This is the metaverse for the rural India. This is the metaverse for the Bharat. Madan and Anil, please tell us what this is all about. The Oculus device with Kutum written on it. Please, tell us more about it. Go ahead.
Sure. So one of the questions that we've always been asked, and there was a very interesting situation a few years ago. We had taken some of our entrepreneurs to a large mall in Bangalore.
Okay.
There was this entrepreneur from a village called Kilara in Mandya, Abhishek, who kept asking me, why can't I have a mall in my village? And I kept telling him, who will go to come and build a large mall for a 5,000 people population village? It doesn't make sense. And he made a statement saying, your technology guys, you figure something out. And that's when it struck me saying, hey, if the people can't go to the mall, why can't the mall go to the people? Right? And that's when we said, what if we leverage this emerging technology, which is the metaverse, and create superlative consumer experiences for our consumers in the villages? And can our entrepreneurs go door to door, having people put on this device, and we are building the world's first electric vehicle showroom inside this metaverse. We have now people coming in and viewing EVs inside the metaverse.
Wow.
They can see it, change colors, they can start the engine, figure out how the engine is running. etc., etc., and then decide that here is how I want to take it forward, right? I want to buy or whatever. So for us, a metaverse is a tool to bring phenomenal brands and experiences for consumers right at their doorstep in the villages, and bring them that convenience to say you don't have to travel 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers to visit a showroom. Now the showroom is coming to your doorstep.
So what you're fundamentally telling me, trust me, this is mind-boggling. So you're saying that to the tehsils, to the smallest villages of Bharat, you are actually taking an Oculus device.
Yes.
Somebody will wear it.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
They will experience a bike, a TV, I don't know, a laptop in the metaverse, and then they'll be able to order that product.
Yes. Yes. And we'll have now bikers, vans now visiting village by village every day, running these experiences in those villages.
Wow. And have you already started with some of this as an experiment? Are there any numbers around it?
Yes. So this predates about 3 years ago. We had done India's first ever virtual reality mall for rural consumers.
A VR mall.
VR mall. We had brought in tractors, we had brought in two-wheelers, etc. We had tested about 200,000 odd consumers on that. Of course, technology was very clunky. Phones were too small on the memory, etc. But with 5G, with this kind of technology now being available, and this cost will fall down dramatically.
Sure.
The world is going to change.
Big lesson for all of you here. Imagine this fact and imagine it extremely well. Just try and feel it with me. What's happening right now is with the metaverse, right, that the world is talking about, now the metaverse is coming to Bharat. Imagine everyone says there is gold lying at the bottom of the pyramid, but that gold lying at the bottom of the pyramid is right now in Madan's and Anil's hands. The metaverse is coming to Bharat, and Bharat will start buying things, understanding things, maybe learning new things out of the metaverse. Out of that, I have one more question, for you guys for the segment, and that is, do you also train your entrepreneurs? Do you also make people learn new things via the metaverse?
Absolutely. In fact, our EV training module is being done on the metaverse.
Wow.
For our mechanics in our villages, explaining what an EV is, what are the 5 ways to troubleshoot it.
Correct.
We're building all the content inside the metaverse. As you rightly said, Paritosh, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Wow.
Imagine applications in healthcare, in education, in skills training, in agri-tech.
Sure.
If we can create a distribution mechanism,
Imagine, right.
then the world
just opens up.
Exactly.
So what you're fundamentally doing actually is this. You said that you are actually a last mile delivery company. I don't even see you like that. I actually see you as a company that's creating the future of Bharat, right? That's what you're actually doing. The top 3 lessons for you from this session are: number 1, customers pay for convenience. Number 2, train your people to be problem solvers and act like entrepreneurs. Number 3, you can build a large impact company by serving the tier 3, 4, 5, 6 cities of Bharat. Remember, business grows when your customers grow. It's time for a break. On the other side, you will take step number 3 of how to start a startup. Meet me on the other side. Welcome back to StartupChampions 2.0. Let's now continue our journey of building a successful startup. Business grows when your customer grows. Let's now take questions from the audience. We have Madan and Anil, we have a question from somebody from Bengaluru. So Pranay, please come on screen and ask your question.
Hi, my name is Pranay. I am from Bangalore. I am currently working in a social sector organization and I have immense interest in the startup world. My question is for the OneBridge team. I would like to know, when you started, how did you initially reach out to the smallest of the villages and tehsils in India?
That's a great question. Thank you, Pranay. We started out small. In fact, for first 1 year, we had only 100 entrepreneurs that we worked with. That too in only 2 districts. Because we wanted to understand, what does it take to engage with them? What does it take to build trust? So we didn't scale overnight.
Sure.
We tested, we tried. We must have tried some 20 experiments with these 100 entrepreneurs over a period of 1 year.
Okay.
We learned from failures. We said, hey, this does not work. And then once we had a handle on how to grow this, then we started scaling it up.
Interesting. On that note, something extremely important that Madan has said, and I am going to build upon that, because now you know is the part to learn how to start a startup, and now you will realize and learn step number 3 of how to start your startup and take it to success. This is called building an MVP or an MVS. So what Madan just said was actually building an MVP, a minimum viable product. Am I there with you?
Yes.
Completely.
Fantastic, great. So don't now miss even a single second of this episode, because right now you are going to learn how to build an MVP. So realize this, the framework is very, very simple. Before you end up solving a very, very large problem like Madan and Anil have actually solved, start small. Start by building an MVP, which is a minimum viable product. So realize what exactly is the topmost burning problem of your customer. So if your customer has 10 different problems, prioritize the topmost problem out of those 10 and ensure that you only build a solution that solves that one top problem. For you to do that, of course, you will have to speak with your customers like Madan and Anil did, right? You've spoken to your customers. You went to, to create just 100 entrepreneurs, multiple sets of experiments and experiences with it, and then you started scaling up. So before you invest your time and money in terms of scaling up your company, ensure that you build either an MVP, which is a minimum viable product if you're a product company, or an MVS, which is a minimum viable service if you're a services company. I hope that how to start a startup step 3 is really valuable for you. Implement it in your business and you will ensure that you don't fall into the trap of 99% of the startups that actually fail in the first year of operations in India. Thank you so much for joining us in this episode. Ensure that you create your videos, launch them on social media with the official hashtag #StartupChampions2, and do give feedback to Madan and Anil as well. Connect with them, take your startup forward, take your career forward. Keep watching Startup Champions 2.0. Thank you so much for joining us today.